Hey there, my name is Jason Sear and I'm the head of design for the cloud network security business at Cisco. Today I thought I'd post something and talk a little bit about design transformation because that's something that we focused heavily on over the past couple of years in our business group. So first of all, what is design transformation? We hear this term thrown around a lot in the industry. It's becoming a bit of a buzzword, but it's often difficult to nail down exactly what it means. And if you ask me, it's all about how do you transform an organization to become much more focused on delivering value-based experiences. How do you focus on delivering value-based experiences to your customers across your products and services? And so one big thing that I think that this represents is a shift from just thinking about how we deliver value in our product to how we deliver value across the entire customer journey. And what does that mean? Well, to deliver value across the entire customer journey, I think that we need to, first of all, understand how is it that a customer goes from becoming aware that they have an unmet need all the way through to discovering that you have a solution for that need, evaluating whether that solution is any good, purchasing it or acquiring it in some way, and then onboarding as quickly as possible to realize that promise of value. When you think about the overall customer journey, we tend to think of it as sort of a sales and marketing side and a product delivery side. Those two sides are, on one side, we are promising value to the customer, and on the other side, we are actually trying to deliver on that promise. And so more and more, if we can look at that journey and start thinking about it from the perspective of the customer's point of view, not the business point of view. Too often, we do think about those parts of the journey, but we think about what do we want the customer to do? What, as a business, do we hope that the customer does as they move through that journey? Whereas digital transformation or design transformation focuses on what is the goal of the customer and how do we help support that goal with the experiences that we deliver. So where should you focus with regards to design transformation? Well, within the security business, we tended to focus on a couple things. And one was we were really seeing the value of design thinking as it was being deployed in the organization. So we tended to focus heavily around that. About 2 years ago, we created a design transformation team that was focused on enabling the business through design thinking so that design could have a much bigger impact on the business. And one of the ways that we did that was by bringing design thinking out of UX or out of product design. Oftentimes people were thinking about it simply as a way of solving problems within the product, and we knew that it could have a much bigger impact on how we operated the business. So we took design thinking and we started enabling people in sales and in marketing and in customer success. Of course, we still focused heavily on product and supporting those groups, but we recognized that if we were going to take a step back and look at that entire customer journey, it was really important that we break out of that, sort of being seen as just a product-focused capability. It, of course, required executive sponsorship. We had, leadership within the organization who were willing to fund this and back it and provide air cover for us. We focused on three particular areas. One was we knew that when it came to design thinking, getting people to practice it or experience it is the best way for them to experience the value of it. So we developed a design thinking practice where if anybody in the business had a tough problem that they were trying to solve and they wanted some help, we would go in and we would help them host workshops, apply design thinking, understand the problems, come up with creative solutions and test those solutions. Once they got a first taste, they often wanted to do much more. And that's where we followed it up with training because we did not want to be a service agency within the organization. We really wanted to enable people to start working this way. And so early on, we enabled some really great training programs to enable people to become, first of all, aware of design thinking and be able to collaborate with others who were practicing it. be able to practice it. So a 2-day practitioner course would allow people to really go deep into the process of design thinking and a number of tools, and be able to come away really being able to practice it with your colleagues and your team. And then the final training piece was facilitation. So we developed a wonderful facilitation training course that allowed people to understand how to apply design thinking and how to facilitate groups who are trying to apply design thinking. At this point, we've trained about 1,000 people in the 2-day practitioner course training, and we have just over 60, that's 60 design thinking facilitators trained. And that's within the security business alone. Cisco is obviously a big place, and security is just a part of it. We're starting to see a lot of the value emerge as a result of that. We're starting to see a lot of teams thinking this way, a lot of teams applying workshopping, and just simply the idea that we need to spend more time understanding the problems from the customer perspective before we start experimenting with our ideas. After design thinking started to take a foothold, we really started to go a little bit deeper, and we started to wonder, we have ambitions to produce the best possible products and product experiences for our customers. But do we have the right skill sets and capabilities within the teams, the delivery teams? And we call a delivery team the combination of engineers, designers, and product managers. Do our delivery teams have the right skills and capabilities and behaviors to deliver on those best experiences? We turned to the Envision Design Maturity Framework as something that would help us figure that out. So if you're not familiar with it, Envision has created a wonderful model in which to measure and improve the design maturity for your teams. It was based on a study of 2,200 companies where they simply set out to understand what are the behaviors of teams that produce the best products. And out of that study, they were able to distill it down to 82 different behaviors of teams that tend to produce amazing products. And they've built a tool that allows you to measure your teams against that model. And so we've been rolling it out across the entire security business. This is a 5,000 person organization, and delivery team by delivery team, we are using the Envision measurement mechanism to measure the design maturity of individual teams, show them where they are strongest and where they need improvement, show them other teams in their organization who are really strong in areas so that they can model behaviors from those other teams. And in combination with the design maturity score, we're also making sure that we tie it to things like NPS or Super Q scores for the product. So, we really believe that as we help teams develop their design maturity, we will see increased NPS scores and Super Q scores, which, as you can imagine, when you go to leadership with data like that, your program continues to get funded, and they see a lot of value in that. The other really valuable thing that we're seeing by using the design maturity model is the alignment and the conversations that are happening between the disciplines on that delivery team. So once a team takes a survey and we deliver the results, there's a wonderful conversation that happens around language and terminology and process, because oftentimes scores are low in particular areas, not because work is not getting done or not because teams are not approaching things in a particular way, but because they're not aware of what each other are doing. And so the conversations that are emerging amongst these delivery teams to align on how they talk about things, make sure that people understand the terminology that designers are using and the process that designers are using, I believe it's creating stronger teams, stronger delivery teams as a result of it. So where should you focus your efforts with regards to design transformation? Honestly, I think it comes down to a couple things for me. One is really around this aspect of being able to measure the capabilities of your teams, and not doing it in a way that puts all of the accountability and responsibility for the experience on the design team. Because if you are a low maturity organization, then yes, the design team tends to be the one who is primarily responsible for a number of those experiences. However, as you become more and more mature, or if you aspire to become more and more mature, it requires close collaboration between the three disciplines. There's only so much that the design team can do alone. And so making sure that as you measure the behaviors of the teams, whether you use Envision's model or some other mechanism, make sure that you're including engineering, product management, and design together in that measurement. I would also say make sure that you measure the way that management sees the work of the organization and the experiences that we're delivering. The other thing that I would focus on is that customer journey and really trying to help the organization understand that we need to stop talking about features and capabilities and products and start talking about business outcomes that our users and customers are trying to achieve, and what is it that's making those business outcomes hard to achieve. One of the simplest things that you can do with regards to the customer journey is when a new feature or new release of your product is being planned, start thinking about that release across the journey. Start by trying to articulate what are the problems that you're trying to solve for the customer, how do they talk about that need, and how are we going to talk about that need so that it aligns with how they understand it. How are they going to discover that we have a solution to that need? How will they evaluate that solution if they are, looking at potentially purchasing our product for that? How do they purchase it? If it requires multiple products, is that difficult for a customer to do? And then, of course, how quickly can they get onboarded and realize that value once they start using your product? If you are focusing on those aspects of the customer journey, then the next phase, which is the renewal phase, well, in a SaaS product, it's a renewal phase, that will start to take care of itself, because if you've done a good job on the previous steps, people will be enjoying the product, getting value out of the product, and will be much more likely to renew, which is all of our goals. So we are really happy to be sponsoring this design thinking conference. I hope that you are getting a lot of value out of the content. We've tried to provide as much content as we can on this page that will be valuable. Be sure to check out the digital version of our design thinking book. Be sure to download the templates that are associated with that book and see if you can start using them. And by all means, reach out to us if you have any questions about what we're doing. We are really happy to contribute back to the community. We would really love to learn from all y'all and what you folks are doing. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your conference.